In this episode of the Midlife Mentors, we're delighted to interview former Brit Pop scene icon Meg Mathews, an entrepreneur and advocate for the menopause. Meg is the founder of megsmenopause.com and regularly hosts talks and conferences to educate and empower women.
We talked to her about her story and her wonderful book, The New Hot, which in her words is all about taking on the menopause with attitude and style. Covering a huge range of issues, the book is honest, empowering and entertaining, and we know you're going to love this episode of the Midlife Mentors. Hi, I'm James Davis.
And I'm Claire Davis.
We're the Midlife Mentors, here to lift the lid on how to achieve health and happiness.
The balanced, no-nonsense way. And James here from the Midlife Mentors podcast. We are so excited to have the amazing Meg Mathews on today. Meg and I kind of met briefly in a gym in London, and then when I was running around Regent's Park. But obviously, with what Meg does, we were on wanting to be speaking to her for ages on this podcast, absolutely ages. But I've read her book, The New Hot. So has James. James has read it too.
I read it in Marbella.
Wow! He actually read it before me, I'm ashamed to say. And it is I'm not just saying this.
It's a great read.
It's fabulous. Do you know why I love it so much? It's so practical. It's good to know the ins and outs of things, but being given practical stuff, which this is all the way through, and it's your story. So it's your story, and then people coming in, and then the practical tips all the way.
Yeah, you summed it up because, you know, I get, you know, there's people send me millions of menopause books, and I'm just like, when you are feeling perimenopausal or menopausal or any of it, and you just got font and page and page and page, that's why I wanted mine, because number one, I've got ADHD, and number two, I've got dyslexia. So of course, I just wanted it to be colourful, different fonts, boxes, and it to be simple, and you know, and just that you can pick it up and it's like your girlfriend just chatting with you.
Yeah, and that's another thing I personally really loved about it. You can pick it up, because I'm not one of these people. James is, he can just read a book in a millisecond. It's really annoying. He's like, oh, I'm on to my fifth book and I'm still on the first couple of pages of mine. But I love this because it works for me, because my concentration span isn't good either. So I can pick it up and go, oh, I'm going to read about that section, and then put it away without feeling I've lost anything.
No, you're exactly right. Whatever you turn to, whatever chapter you want, you know, if it's loss of libido or HRT, you can just pick it up.
Yeah.
And then you've got me telling my experience, and then you've got, you know, an expert, probably, you know, all the top experts in the country are in the book, from Dr. Louise Newson to, you know, everybody's in there, so you're getting their advice as well.
Yeah, we love it, and
it's a great book. It's really readable. Like you said, like a lot of books on perimenopause, menopause, they can be quite dry, can't they? It's kind of written from a scientific perspective. You're kind of wading through the chapters, going, "Oh, what I loved about this was you can dip it out. You can either read it through, or you can be like, oh, I want to know about libido. I want to know about male menopause." So I was really see you covered male menopause in there, because it's something that isn't really talked about much at the moment. I think we should be discussing more.
Yeah.
For men, it can also have a big effect on their confidence and their emotional and psychological state as well.
Absolutely.
It's not discussed at the moment.
No, and
we know that when you know, men go to the GP, they, you know, it's something like 3% of men will ask to go and get a testosterone blood test, when it's all there and it's all available, and your GP will give it to you if you're feeling tired and you're a guy and you're not just feeling, you know, 100%. But guys have this thing where they don't want to be tested. But I mean, you know, testosterone gel, the one that I take, is exactly the same one as, because it's not licensed for women in the UK, which is rubbish. But I take the same testo gel as a man would. I take a pea size, he would take a good 3 or 4 pumps. But it all does the same thing. You know, we as women in our 20s make 3 times as much testosterone as we do estrogen. And everybody, when I say testosterone, they go, oh my God, am I going to get an Adam's apple? And am I going to, get hairy? And I go, well, you're going to get hairy anyway. You'll be plucking your nipples, you'll be plucking your chin anyway. The testosterone will just give you that oomph that you want to get back in the gym. If you haven't got any of that, that's what it does, for you. And I found that's what was good for me.
Well, weirdly, actually, I just had some tests because I've been feeling, since being back in the UK, so we came back from Marbella a few months ago, and I've just been feeling like really lethargic, and I wonder if I'm like slightly perimenopausal. And I had all these tests done, and I was really chuffed with the NHS, actually. I was like, actually, they've done a whole repertoire of bloods on me. It's come back that my testosterone's a bit high.
But with the NHS as well, their guidelines.
I know.
They basically, when they say you're okay, you're probably not really. I'm not putting them down, but I mean, they have a whole country to run. But they said to me, oh, my B12 was too high. But then when I spoke to one of the menopause doctors, and that she was a GP, she just said, well, they have this like line that just runs along there. Wouldn't worry about that. Right. She said at all. I wouldn't say stop taking your B12. It's probably not high, but in just where their lines are, But they have to keep everyone general. But maybe my best friend, her testosterone is high.
I know. It just means I'm stronger than James in the gym, and he just doesn't like it.
No, I bet.
No, actually trying to compete with me all the time.
I just honestly really, really loved the book because you cover so like every element. Like I loved you talking about CBT, loved you talking about like stress management stuff, because I was a stress management consultant years ago. But more than that, like you mentioned somewhere like perfectionism and catastrophizing everything. And these are all the things that people don't necessarily think about, that when you're going through those emotional things, comparison, we're in a social media age now. And you mentioned as well that you just sat there in your PJs, just like not wanting to go outside and just going, everyone else has got their life sorted out. Everyone else has got their life sorted out. And it's this world we're in now, it just makes it even worse when you're going through stuff like this. So it's just a beautiful book that just creates such awareness.
I totally agree, because what for me, what made me really upset and quite angry was, so I'm 55 now, so we're talking like 6 years ago, whatever. So I was just thinking, what about all of the people that I've looked up to? What about Glenn Close? What about Madonna? What about Jennifer Aniston? What about nobody had ever, until last year, and then I've got quotes from Angelina Jolie and Oprah Winfrey. But I mean, that was 6 years into me being, and we know that the perimenopause can last 10 to 15 years. So, you did feel that you were really on your own, because all these women that I'd always sort of looked up to and, would read biography after biography and think, this is great. No, there was never, ever of it. And they can't have all gone through it feeling okay.
No. And I was actually
that, disappointed me and upset me, because it did make me feel I was on my own.
So I mean,
is he grabbing?
Am I going towards the mic or not going away towards the mic? I speak really loudly anyway. No, but I speak so loudly anyway. And then on the podcast, I tone down James's and bring up James's.
I don't worry, I'm the same.
So you're saying go towards the mic less?
Yeah, lean towards the mic more.
That's why he's right in front of the mic.
He's being so bossy. So we kind of like touched on that there about, what the inspiration was behind writing the new hot, or getting it together with everyone? You touched on some of that there, like the disappointment. What else was it? You know, what particularly about your experience and the challenges you were going through that really drove you to?
Well, mine were all okay. So mine was really angry with everybody, because mine were all mental health issues. Okay, so mine was anxiety, couldn't sleep, overwhelmed with life, and these were my issues. And to me, the menopause was a hot flush, and you didn't have a period. None of this was ever brought up. So basically, I didn't leave the house for 3 months. Now, I was quite a privileged person because I didn't have to really leave my house. I used to lie and pretend and get a nurse ready for school, and then let her get an Uber to school, and she thought that was great because she was 15. And then my partner would go to work, and I would sort of, make breakfast, light the candles, put my gym gear on, and everyone thought I was going to the gym. And the minute they left, I used to just get back into bed. But this was 3 months. And basically get the dog walker to come and walk the dogs, and then I would set the alarm for 4 o'clock in the afternoon, knowing that Nez was coming back from school, and then I'd light the candles, I'd put things on, I'd, look like I've been like working out and running around. People would come in, well, what have we done? Oh yeah, I had such a busy day. Teenage girls just want to go in their room and FaceTime their mates. My partner could not believe his luck, because I would just say, you can have the TV downstairs, you can have the football, the snooker, the darts, whatever you want. And then I'd also say to them, oh, by the way, I don't want to cook, so we'll get a Deliveroo. And then everyone was like, yeah, great. There was never anyone who was like, why aren't we? They were just like, yeah, what, pizza, Indian, whatever. So it sort of, I could just do that. And then I would go, oh, I'm watching this thing on Netflix. And then I would just go upstairs, and then being intimate was like quite hard. It was really hard, because I would basically, I'd want to be intimate, and I'd want to have cuddles, and I'd want to be held. But to a guy, the minute that I would be touching his back or kissing him or cuddling up to him, which meant to him, okay, yeah, a red flag to a bull. And then
yeah.
Like, well, what? And I'd just be like, no, I don't want that. And he would just be like, so everything was, it was in the house. It was like, I would just, be really, Nez, why is your bedroom like this? It's a bloody disgrace. And she'd be like, it's always like this, Mum. You have a bloody cleaner. You don't clean my room. What are you talking about? And this is, this was, she's swearing me like that, but this was what it was all like in our house. And then in the end, I ended up splitting up with my partner. And I was so relieved, because the relief of me just having a bed to myself, and you're not supposed to feel like that. I mean, that's not, it's like, great. I couldn't wait. I was just like, I just want this bed to myself. I was having night sweat, so I'd want a dry side of the bed. And everything happened when I went to an AA meeting and in Notting Hill, and I was in this meeting, and I was just like, look, I'm going to be 50 in like 6 months, and I might as well bloody drink. I might as well have a bottle of wine, because I feel so rubbish. I feel I have nothing in my life that I feel good about. Everything is just falling apart, and I feel shit. As I left the meeting, a woman tapped me on the shoulder and said to me, I think you're going through the menopause. And I was just like, oh, you cheeky cow. Do I look like the Golden
Like a dagger,
Girls?
like a dagger to the heart. How dare you?
Do I look like the Golden Girls? A grey rinse. That's what my menopause meant to me. And she gave me a number, and I took it home, and I couldn't even drive my car then. I was so overwhelmed that I didn't even drive. And I thought, and even that, when I shared about that, I could not believe that the DMs and the thousands and thousands of women that came back to me who also said that they couldn't drive their cars. And they found it overwhelming. I would sort of think, you know, oh my God, I'm going to get in the car. Am I going to get a parking space? Everything was always, you know, my brain. And I didn't know this was the lack of estrogen, this mother hormone estrogen that absolutely, basically is just not about, you know, fertility in our ovaries. It looks after our heart. I mean, 1 out of 3 women suffer strokes or heart attacks. No, 2 out of 3. 1 out of 3 women will have osteoporosis. I was one of those. I was diagnosed at 48 with full-on osteoporosis. If you looked at me from the outside, you'd think I was super fit. You wouldn't think this was going on. It's either hereditary, or it could be down to the colourful 90s I had, or it could be the, you know, the dieting that I did throughout my life, you know, the lack of sleep. It could have loads of things, but we won't know why. But you know, thank God that I managed at 48 to get on top of that. You know?
And I think you just just talking about like in the nutrition side of things, obviously that's what we teach, kind of nutrition and exercise and stuff. But the nutrition, just saying, you know, from my who would have thought from my previous life, I suppose, and now I'm literally obsessed with nutrition. And then you're talking about the HIIT that you do, so you do some high intensity interval training stuff, and I saw you do some stuff for somebody in the gym. And like that's a science-backed approach, basically. Science says that interval training can help kind of reverse the signs of aging and like actually really help. And people don't realise stress as well, cortisol, all these cocktail of hormones. Stress.
Yeah, I mean, my cortisol levels are so high. I mean, I wake up in the morning and mixed with ADHD, my cortisol levels, because I've done the Dutchie test, it's really high. I wake up like instantly, my eyes are wide awake, and I could actually do you know, a TED talk, and that's how quick I am in the morning, because
I'm jealous.
My cortisol levels are so high. My brain works from like 6 o'clock. It's just, you know, I wake up like that, and there's nothing I can do about it except that the British Heart Foundation have said, you know, all this stuff, it really has an effect on your heart. So even though you're thinking just, oh, I'm waking up and my cortisol levels are really high, it's not doing my heart any favors at all. And this is all things that people just, daily stuff, just don't take into account.
No,
you know?
No. And it becomes normal. Like stress becomes normal. It's like a flag or a badge of honor. Oh, I'm really busy. I'm really stressed. And you're like, actually, I hate to be dramatic, but it's a silent killer, because you're just on this hump all the time, and you're not realizing.
I'm so glad you said that, because I totally agree, because you just take it. You think we think we're multitasking.
Yeah.
And it's not. And we shouldn't be multitasking. I mean, I read somewhere that the amount of information that I take in one day is what William Shakespeare took in his whole lifetime.
Boom.
I can believe that.
Yeah.
So it's like my brain does not stop, because it has got social media, it's got this, and if we're not doing law, or I'm not looking at this and Twitter and da-da-da-da-da, then you think you're missing out, or you're not keeping up, and to have this low lifestyle we weren't supposed to. It's been pushed on us to be like this.
Totally.
That's why I moved to Cornwall.
Is it really? Is it honestly? Like, because obviously you were in London, and you've moved there. And how are you feeling? Like, because I know.
Oh, my whole life is completely changed. Yeah, completely changed. I'm not on social media. You know, I'm very, very strict with my boundaries. I'll only do X amount. Before I would do everything, because maybe I would sell another book, or maybe I would, you know, be on this and on that. And now I'm just like, no, you know what? My lifestyle and Meg's life at 55 is so much more important. Yeah. And I'm like, I say to my agent and to my press and everyone, I'm like, this amount this week. I've got, like, you know, my Stella column once a week in the Telegraph, which is great. I mean, what more? I don't need to be doing, you know, much more than that. And I'm basically slowing everything down. And, you know, also I've done the Meg's menopause. The menopause I've done for 5 years. I've written the book. there's, I don't want to keep talking about it for much longer. I'm bored of telling my story. It's time for new people, and I see them coming up all the time. Women of a certain age, like Lisa Snowdon and Denise Van Outen, and it's their turn now. I'm 55. I've done my story, and I'm proud that I've done it, and I think everything that I've done to date. But it's not like, there's a broken record. I can't talk about it for like ever because it's boring me as well. It's like, so you're very lucky to have me.
I know we are.
No, I'm not just in general.
No, I know.
Me moving down here was, London was killing me. I could not walk around Regent's Park or Primrose Hill ever, again. And it's, you know what, the noise pollution, the light pollution, everything about it is like, it just was. I knew that I had to make that move.
Well, we felt like that about, we love London, love London. I have to say, it's not like we always talk about, because James is a bit older than me, quite a bit. But he remembers like, all the rave. I know he's got a younger model. All the the 90s, in London, that doesn't exist anymore. It's changed irrevocably because of what's happened in the world as well. And actually, I just kind of, it's, I hate to say it, but London is a very different place, even from what it was like last year, at the beginning of last year, obviously. And we just we went to Marbella. It's a lot, it's very free. It's a very slower pace of life. You're by the sea. So I see your photos, something about being by the ocean.
Yeah, and for me, it's like everyone just thinks I was born and bred in London, but I was born in Guernsey. So I lived there for like 9 years, and then I went there straight to South Africa. So from 3 or 4 years old, I was always in the sea, and then I was lucky enough to be brought up outside Cape Town in Stellenbosch. So I was just by the sea until I was 15. You know what I mean? So I've always been. So this is like coming home for me, because when I came and I joined these swimmers called the Mermaids, and I dived in the sea, and everyone was just like, oh my God, look, there's this girl from the city, she can swim really well. And I always was a really good swimmer, because when I was at boarding school, when I was in South Africa, then I went to boarding school in Oxford. I would, because I, as sort of, being a really strong swimmer, because in South Africa, I would swim all the time. I'd do relay and then have to do it for like 4 people. And then I'd always be like, no, Meg's on our team. She'll do it. I'm going, what? I'm doing backstroke, crawl, and breaststroke. They're like, yeah. So I was, so for me, it's like, it's just coming back to the norm, and the coastline is exactly like Guernsey. Yeah. So for me, being born there and then brought up until I was 9, 10, and then going to South Africa, it's like I'm not a city girl, but everyone always thought I was.
Thought you were. Yeah.
Because I put this Cockney accent on to lose my South African. I had a South African accent.
Did you?
Yeah, really bad.
Mine's Essex. Mine's just a bit, actually it's Kent, but everyone's always like, well, it's the same as Essex, isn't it? So it's like, whatever. He's the posh boy.
Yeah. So I basically put that on, so I didn't have the South African accent. So I put on this Cockney accent, and then my parents were like, well, we send you to this private boarding school. And now you speak like, you're from, not as a gutter, but, where's this? My dad's a Scouser, and my mum is from Kent. Yeah. So my dad's a Scouser. So it was like, I was like, where did this accent come from? Everyone always asks.
But, I think just going back to the whole social media thing, it's such you look so happy down there in your social media, like pictures and stuff. But I think it is something that I really, I think everyone really struggles with. But when you own your own business and you do like the pressure to constantly be on, like analysing everything, always thinking, and my mind goes a million miles an hour, and you're just, you don't stop. And there's just something to be said, like we're not meant to be like that, like you said.
Actually, it's really interesting research, like the myth of multitasking. It came in at the time we got computers. People looked at computers and the way they work with processing and things processing in parallel. Like, that's great. Computers can handle lots of different things at the same time. What if humans could do that? They could work so much better and work so much harder. So that's where it started from. But actually, loads of studies show when we just focus on one thing, we always get better results than if we're trying to do like a multitude of things at the same time.
Is that your excuse? Is that your excuse for not doing more than
nothing?
Yeah, I'm doing the washing and the drying.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you lot were going to go mad because the England game was started in 1 minute, and I just
no.
Well, okay, that was good.
Yeah, we'll wait.
Yeah, we always do. No, you're right. Okay, that's fine.
No. But it's just crazy, I think, and just the way social media is now, it's so divided and stuff. So I'm really pleased you're down there and just loving it.
No. Come back to the menopause. I think it's great. Like you were saying, you referenced there, like leaving that meeting, the woman tapping on the shoulder. And the kind of perception of menopause back then, we're talking like maybe 6 years ago.
Yeah.
People thought about it very much in like a physical way, right? And I think it's great now with like books like yours and more people coming to the conversation. We're recognizing like so much the emotional and the mental and the psychological side of it, which wasn't really recognized before. People were just like, why is it you're so much more anxious? Why are you not sleeping? And people are starting to recognize that it's all down to the hormones and the changes.
Yeah, it's all down to the lack of estrogen. So, as we know, our ovaries stop working as much, and they make the estrogen. And then, when I went to the doctor, and then everyone's always very angry. They go, "Well, I went to the doctor and he put me on antidepressants." Well, the doctors in this country, they get taught, I think, 3 hours or less in 7 years, and it's all the old stuff. And when I did go to the doctor, I was just like, I cannot cope with life, so what was he going to do? He had no other way of knowing than putting me on antidepressants. Also, I think we should really say that there should be no shame or taboo being on antidepressants.
Meg, I've been on them. I was 10 years ago. 10 years ago, I was put on them after my divorce. I was put on them, and I honestly, what annoys me is that sometimes I feel like it's the only way, and like they do dish them. They're like, "Oh, you're a bit depressed, go on them."
Yeah,
there's a fine line, but I completely agree. They save lives, hon. They save lives. I mean, I've been in such a state that if I hadn't have been put on them, I don't know what would have happened. So there should be no shame, ever around going on, and that's another subject which. Hopefully, with your book and us talking about it.
Because I went through stages, and without antidepressants, I would have been the same, because they basically, my serotonin levels, my endorphin, everything was so low that without them, it was a very fine line. And, with escitalopram and stuff, it was amazing for me. It really, really helped me.
And I love that. And I love that you say that, because people can just really, really poo-poo them, and there's a lot of shame. Shame's a horrible emotion. And you shouldn't go on them. You should try and find things naturally. Well, how about if you might need that extra help right at the beginning, and then find lifestyle factors that help as well.
But like you say, at times, and also, like, as we know, they don't kick in that quickly. But I do know that Dr. Harper now, when I did an IGTV with her, so they're seeing that women cycle in the perimenopause. So that PMS week before your period, where you want to eat shitloads of chocolate, you want to stab your boyfriend or your husband, and then you have that week, and then you have maybe 3 or 4 days feeling okay. But then if your estrogen levels are then falling again before that week, you probably, at your 28-day cycle, you'll probably have 5 good days.
Yeah.
And so what they're saying now is they're actually giving SSRIs for 10 days. So basically, it's not taken like an antidepressant now. It's taken just to bring your serotonin levels up. So women can have a good month. So basically, as well as that week of the week before, for 10 days before their period, they are given SSRIs. They're also given some estrogen. So the estrogen, 1 pump is put on, and they take the tablet, and it makes them have at least another 14 or 15 good days in
not
your
just
cycle.
5, not just 5.
Not
where you
just
feel
5.
like the world is a little bit okay, but
yeah, and then you don't know why, because you think, well, you know, I should be grateful, and you know, everything's fine in my life. But why do I feel like this? So what they're doing is, this is a new thing, and I think it's great because you're not actually taking it like I took it, where it took like something like maybe 6 to 10 weeks to properly start working. This is just taking it for 10 days. So it just brings the serotonin levels up. So this is all, and it's not as taking it as I was taking it, where it was actually regulating a lot of things going on in my brain. So if I stopped taking mine for a few days, I would feel like, electric shocks and all sorts of things, because what it was dealing with, it was already really working within my brain. But this is not. This is just like, you just take the 10 days, and this is all new. And I think, this should be out there, and it should be talked about.
I know, but that's why this is so important. This is why this is so important that you talk about all this stuff. So I don't want to keep you for like loads longer. We said we were going to go through a whole list of questions, but then just as I am and James, we would just chat anyway.
Same. I didn't even read your question.
No, I was like, well, we were like, I'll send some over anyway, but I know we won't use them because we'll just get on and just whistle.
I don't ever do.
One of the things I did want to say, what are some of the top tips that you would say, just putting you on the spot a little bit, but like from your perspective, your experience, what would you say if you could give just a few like top tips to women kind of feeling like you were and not really knowing what's going on? Like, what would you say to them? What would the top tips be?
Yeah, my top tips would be knowledge is power. The minute that you're not feeling, you have to also, make the effort and take control. Things aren't going to come to you. So if you're not feeling 100%, then you need to Google. You need to read. And if you want to go to your GP, then you can go in there and you can say, oh, actually, I'm not sleeping. But you need, look up, if you're not feeling 100% from the age of 39 or whatever, and you're feeling, life isn't what it used to be. And, you can't be bothered to go to the gym, and you're starting to put on weight, and you're not sleeping at night, and all these little things are creeping in. You need to take control of yourself, and HRT is just the plaster. And I want to say that it is about your lifestyle. It is about your diet, looking after yourself, drinking less alcohol, making sure that you do exercise, even if it's couch to 5K. Yeah, HRT will do that, but it's just the Band-Aid. You have to be responsible for your life, and that is the most important thing that I have to say. Going to bed early, not eating shit, it's the whole thing, making sure that you drink enough water. It's the things that we say, but they are what we should be doing. And, you're not just going to go to a doctor and go, right, a bit of HRT, I'll suck a bit of testosterone gel, take progesterone. You have to be in control of your life. If you're going to eat shit every day and drink shitloads of alcohol, go to bed really late, you have to look after your body. You have one body for one life. Why are you not looking after it now? And then and then complaining that you haven't lost weight, and it just goes on year after year.
I know.
Why not do something now? Something now.
Well, the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is today. This is the only home we have. And the only home we have. And actually, don't wait. Here's the problem. We find prevention is better than cure. So you're going to get down that road and then go, I probably should have done something about this before. But we're in a society where people don't necessarily take as much responsibility as they should. But I know that's
but we need to. But everybody sort of we know that if you don't move, I think movement is the biggest thing that we should talk about, is movement. Yeah. You have to move, for fuck's sake. Yes. You have to move. Use it or you know what I mean? It's not about just getting up in the morning. I am not really a gym bunny, or, but I know that if I do that, it's going to help everything. Mental health wise, 20 minutes walk in nature, not on your phone, looking around, will change you. Mind, I've said this over and over again. Yeah. So it's just these simple little things of, 20 minutes walking. Get off at the tube station or your bus stop and wear your trainers to work, and then do that walk. Yeah. Little things.
I only got into doing all this when I was like 30. Like fitness. I wasn't a fitness, but I hated the gym. I didn't go to the gym at all, but it was only when I had piled on the pounds from too much drinking, taking my antidepressants. Yeah. I was in a really bad way. And then all of a sudden I was like, you know what, I've got to take control of this. You get to a point. And it was the exercise. And actually looking after what I was feeding myself, because our emotions, this is our second brain. You talk about this as well. Our gut is our second brain.
Your gut, of course, totally.
If you're eating crap, you're going to feel like crap.
Well, yeah, of course. The more the sugar and and junk food and takeaways and all that sort of stuff, you know what I mean? It basically just feeds that, and then it's not giving this brain any signs of feeling happy. Yeah. It's just craving more and more and more. And then, like you said, then all of a sudden you find something else that can fulfill that, which you don't think it can. Yeah. But that's what I mean when I'm talking about HRT. Ladies out there, it's great and it is the number one thing. But when I have all these women DMing me going, yeah, but I've got this middle fat, whatever, it's not going to go just because you're just going to put, a patch on. You need to move, and you need to think about your diet and what you're drinking, and your metabolism is slowing down, and your thyroid could be this, and you have to take all this in, because women go through all the time. Well, I've got my HRT, and I'm
doing what I can. I'm doing everything I can. You're not really.
But are you? No.
Yeah. Are you? No. Oh, it's just amazing to talk to you.
And you too.
I could talk
thank you so much.
And ever. It was just honestly just so, I hate this phrase, but so on the same page as us. With like everything you say, everything is in this book. And what's great, you cover off. There's not anything that we've looked through and gone, didn't really, we're in health, didn't really cover that. They covered everything. Right, so
great book.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate that.
Honestly, anyone that's listening, ladies, you have to buy this, because we're all about men, all the practical tips.
I'm transgender, don't forget. We've got
I'm transgender as well. So men, women, transgender. And honestly, because it's all about the practical stuff. It's not woo-woo. It's like, I can take this and do this now and start changing my life and what I'm experiencing now. Yeah. So,
but you have to take control. There's only one person that can do that.
Boom.
That's the thing.
Yay! Meg, you're wonderful, and thank you for all the work.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for all the work you're doing with all of this stuff, and we're enjoying Cornwall.
Oh, loving it.
Lots of love, darling.
Bye.
Take care.
All right, bye.
Yeah. You've been listening to the Midlife Mentors with Claire and James Davis.
Yeah. We'd love to hear from you, so drop us a line at info@themidlifementors.com with any questions or topic suggestions.
And make sure you join us on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. You can find us under The Midlife Mentors.
Yeah.